Let's take a moment and toast to authentic whiskey. Let's toast to Johnnie Walker, the original taste of whiskey. Since 1820, Johnnie Walker has remained the world's #1 Scotch whiskey and has won numerous awards for excellence. This because the impeccable formula of distillation has been jealously guarded over the ages, thus its distinctive taste. Johnnie Walker comes from an intricate blend of a wide spectrum of carefully selected flavors, giving it that unique taste savored by millions all over the world. So let's toast to the unquestionable taste of whiskey. Johnnie Walker, the whiskey the world knows best. Johnnie Walker, keep walking. Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under 18 years and pregnant women. So, shall we move on to Bungalows, where is Son of Man?
But the speech again, quickly.
Okay, quickly.
There was another part about the Ghanaian civilization, which I liked. You know, so he's urging us to think beyond just development, the kind of superficial GDP growth rate kind of transformation. He wants us to see ourselves as heirs of a great, people and tradition, and to see ourselves as capable of, in many ways, influencing the world in the spheres of architecture, music, thought, writing, and the rest of that. And I think that was fantastic.
And of course, the business side of it as well, Ghana being open for business, that the business of government is to govern, ours is to set fair rules. We will provide vision and direction and shine the light down the path of our entrepreneurs. We will stimulate the creative juices of innovators. We will bring back to life the adventurer in you. It is time to imagine and to dream again. Time to try that business idea again. And on. The doors of Ghana are open. The shutters are up again. There couldn't be a better opportunity to make in Ghana and to make it in Ghana. Ghana is open for business. I like that.
It was a great line. And a few days ago, I read a British woman woman who had come to live in Ghana for the last 5 years. I was talking about the opportunities, the entrepreneurship of the Ghanaian that you don't find in Western societies. And what came to my mind is that, why are we called developing countries? It means there are opportunities. If you go elsewhere, they're already developed. That's why their GDP grows at a very slow rate. We are still developing.
Well, if you're driving at 200 kilometers per hour, you can't speed beyond that. You can barely speed beyond that. But of course, if you're driving a lot slower, then you can. There's a lot of headroom.
And so we have a lot of opportunities in this country to grow. And for him to specifically talk about shining the light on the path of the entrepreneurs, I think is a great idea, and we should seize that opportunity and see what help can be given to individuals who have the ideas, who have the opportunities to grow.
So perhaps as justified as the
one factory, one district, one factory.
Not even that. I was just going back to the plagiarism. That as justified as the criticisms are, perhaps
they are relatable.
Now it's almost a week old. Perhaps it's time to look at the meaning and essence of the ideas
what he told
us. And to latch onto them and to work with them.
Exactly. And when you were introducing me, you said I was going to talk about my experience campaigning.
Yes.
And in my campaigning, I went to every region in Ghana. I really enjoyed this. Actually, after the elections, I put on our platform that I miss campaigning.
How did you like WA?
Oh, I loved WA. What happened in WA? We stayed in I remember where we stayed.
Upland Hotel?
We did.
So most of the places you went, or you went to many places that you had never previously been. So what did you learn about Ghana?
That, our economy is not that complex. It's very basic. That, yes, there is a lot of opportunity in very simple things. For example, why don't we have a developed shea nuts industry in the north? When you go to places like Dambai, Sibi, Northern Volta, there's so much yam. Why don't we have,
Something that utilizes
something that produces something out of yam. You know,
Yam chips.
Which you should not be hungry.
Yam chips,
Yam
as
chips,
Dr. Indom said. Yes, yam chips. And you see, the women are so enterprising. The Ghanaian woman is so enterprising.
And man.
And oh, please.
Of course. Deliberate.
In the north.
Insistence.
In the north, you can see how hard the women are working and the men are sitting. You see, it's clear, it's glaring. And these women are ready to work hard. They are, you know, only if they had a little help.
Yeah.
And when you go talking as a woman, as you go talking, they ask you, what have you got for us women? Because bringing up of the children is their responsibility, you know, and all that. And they are sitting there with shea nuts growing all around them, with yams growing all around them, with peanuts growing, groundnuts growing on. Why don't we have a brand of groundnut oil made in Ghana, for example?
So you were saying you started this point with one district, one factory.
That is not our slogan. I mean, we're not talking one district, one factory.
Yes.
All I'm saying is that what would make an entrepreneur out of Ghana or make entrepreneurs out of Ghanaians are basic things, which we already have. There are young people living in Accra processing shea butter and having brands made out of them. And yet the women in the north who go collecting these shea nuts from under the trees are still in the states in which they are. Why not take these little cottage things up there?
That sounds like a factory.
It sounds like a factory, but it also sounds like something Dr. Indom and the PPP says.
Which is
fine.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if more than one party is saying it, is a great idea.
Well, shall we start to implement it very quickly?
Of course.
I hope we all hope so.
We all hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I sell Jomi, and that allusion to palm oil in a white shirt I don't like, but palm oil is a good thing. Jomi is even better. I sell Jomi from the women in my hometown. And I've been eating Jomi from my hometown ever since I was a child, because my mother wouldn't buy palm oil in Accra. And this is a first class, excellent product. And yet, and you can ask anybody who buys my Jomi, and yet those women have been there selling in rubber bags and beer bottles and used water bottles for years. Yeah. And it hasn't occurred to anybody to package it, brand it, give these women some credit for the good job they are doing. Sounds
like a factory.
Well, it could be a factory, it could be a cottage industry, it could be, but the point is,
the factory doesn't have to be $1 million.
That's exactly what I'm saying, that our entrepreneurs or our industries, it's nothing complex. It doesn't have to be this fancy thing, because we are producing things in primary forms that could be...
But you see, it's clear that we've not directed our resources, our thinking inwards enough. The country is crammed up. It's tight. It's closed.
Because
which means the resources that we have. You're right. We are not directing it to opening the country up, railway, roads, and the rest of them. And all we do is this: pick the primary products and then export. Yes. That's why we've left the country the way.
No, but talking from within. You mentioned that you produce Zomi. In fact, after this program, I'm going to be ordering my Zomi from you.
Oh, there's some in the car.
Oh, brilliant. I'll pick one up. Okay. But we also have Mrs. Letitia Benua Osafuado, Samba Foods, right? We have a lot of entrepreneurs around. The thing is that the support to grow
is not there.
It's not there. And that is where we should be looking at. Who are the people already in the system? What are they doing? What support can we provide them? And what facilities can be made available to them so that
for example, look at the discourse. When we talk about the investment, we talk about foreignness. We don't look inwards.
Okay.
There is let me speech.
Okay. If you can do this in 30 seconds.
The environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was so critical because of the work of Galamsey.
That one.
My goodness, that was another thing.
Yes, for me it was a big thing because it's not just
about the land belonging to future generations, not to us.
The water bodies. It's been
said
it's sad. The next war. I used to go to the
riverside.
The riverside, the leaves.
Yes.
We turn the leaf, you fetch the water, you drink. Wow. You cannot do it now.
Anymore.
they are murky.
You saw them, right?
Yes.
I'm going to muddy the waters.
Yes, muddy the waters.
With a bungalow. All right, so
we were having a nice conversation.
I know. Yeah. We will have, the lounge is weekly.
We're having a nice conversation.
So let's talk about the bungalow. The president wanted to keep the bungalow that he lives in the adjoining property and another building elsewhere in Rage for an office, and there appears to have been a chorus against it, and the best laid plans have unraveled. Should the taxpayer be paying for housing for former presidents? The principal. What do you think?
Personally, I think that we, as a country, we should decide what we want.
What do you want?
First of all, I think the principle of making ex-president comfortable goes all the way back to the idea that Mo Ibrahim started to put across in such a way that...
With his prize, the $200,000
yes, and the idea was, what can we do to stop corruption? So that when the person leaves office, they'll know that they'll be comfortable, they'll be taken care of. So when they are in government,
yes,
they'll concentrate on the business of governing. So I think there was a point in time where the conversation was that let's decide on a package for our former presidents. That was the principle.
Right.
Now,
do you think it's a sound principle? That you think that if a man or woman running for president, if he or she is assured of a retirement home, that is going to prevent him or her from signing off multi-million dollar contracts and padding it up?
Well, again, I mentioned the Mo Ibrahim prize. The fact that it hasn't been won for several years is a testimony to the fact that people don't care about it. They want to get what they can get.
$200,000
and not
a year,
and not bother
for the rest of his
life.
Well, I think it's for 10 years or something, and then it kind of graduates down after a while. But anyway.
So yes, you are right in terms of the fact that one will not be a motivation for doing what they want to do. But my view is that we should decide as a country. I don't think that the taxpayer should pay for those things. We should find a way of making sure that before you leave office, as for an office space, I believe that that is something that we have to provide, because once they leave office, they should still have some facilities around them. But because
they'll still be working,
exactly,
representing the country, they'll receive guests and so on. And you're suggesting that it is just
But as for
proper.
a house...
But what if the guy is lazy?
Is he lazy?
What do you mean?
I mean, if the former president, whoever he is, doesn't want to work.
That is entirely up to the individual.
Okay, anyway.
But for me, what happened in the last few days was quite nasty. If there was an agreement during the transition, I think it should be honored, regardless of
sentiment.
Okay.
All right. And Bridget, what do you think?
Well, many things. I wondered if this would happen in the case of anybody else being president. There seems to be a certain personal tinge to it because it was John Dramani Mahama. That is the way I saw it. But in my I think that there have been reports and there have been things put in place to provide for the president a certain amount, 22,000 Ghana cedis, is it monthly or something like that, and for 40% of his salary and all that. It's been provided for. How that became public discourse and this whole thing blew up was not dignifying for the position of an ex-president. It wasn't the nicest thing. I don't quite understand when the agreement was had and when their minds were changed. I started to think, and this is a personal view, I started to think that there was some division in the transition team and in the new government that didn't agree. And some people went to broker a deal that suited them, and then now the party and the
you are
government
very
itself.
active on social media.
Yes.
Right? What did people say on social media?
Well, everybody just thought, no, this can't be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So my view is simple. I think our political elites have lost it in many ways. I mean, because if you look at the standards of living of the masses of our people generally, the waste and all of that. I mean, when you are in office, we literally pamper you. We give you almost everything, you know, and we sacrifice for you. The rest of us have to work, pay our bills, look after our children, pay taxes. And you don't even see where the taxes go. Wretched roads, bad hospitals, you know, and the rest of them, you know. Well, after that, we should also give you a parachute. as you kind of, you know, bail out.
Into the sunset.
Into the sunset. It doesn't make any decent sense.
An office? Would you yield to an office?
Depending on the character.
What do you,
there are some who like to work.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be fair. It should be equitable. I mean,
okay,
you
so let's say
choose.
What I would want is to help him with, say, building a library.
But does it have to be another building?
Yeah, that's the thing.
If then you're going to give this president a house, why can't they create an office in that house? Does it have to be another standalone building? And for that in Ridge, which is right behind where I play tennis, it's been done up nicely with the solar panels. When power goes off, power doesn't go off in that house.
I mean, when Obama leaves the White House, where does he
They
go?
find their own house.
Right?
And the other
Bill
thing
Clinton
is
went
that
looking for offices in the
the other thing is most of these guys have their houses.
Right.
So why do you add more?
Yes, many.
I don't understand.
In different countries.
I mean, we are lying to ourselves. We know that John Mahama has a house or houses.
As did President.
Yes, before Jerry Rawlings. We know.
Yes.
So why do you give them houses? For Christ's sake. When I retire, I think I've served the Republic. I teach. I bend over. I work hard. Nobody's going to give me a house. You, Kwaku, have done so. You've inspired us. You serve this country. When you go, you go. So what is special about the rest?
I'll take you. There are certain parties that when you join them, they buy you houses. Ask KPI.com.
For me, my point is, as a country,
Penthouse.
whichever way we want to go, let's make a decision. Let's say this is the policy. This is what we intend to do.
That we can absorb.
That
It's
we can-
reasonable.
exactly.
It's fair.
But
You know?
this wishy-washy way, that sort of thing, making it all nasty, and that is my problem. If we say, no, we are not going to give houses to any president, that is what we say we are going to do.
We're taking a quick break and we'll be back in just a second. You're watching The Lounge.